everyone, welcome to another Batman miniature game battle report. There's Sora's cameo. She's off. It's raining heavily and she doesn't like the rain. Anyway, I know I said last time we'd have a new table set up and we destroyed it in a DC miniature game battle report with that in mind. I ordered some tiny Christmas decorations to have a Christmas table set up. Didn't realise the Amazon seller was in China, so I'll be lucky to get them before Christmas. That's right. So for now, now we know that 3rd edition is launching in time for Christmas, so that might warrant a different type of, battlefield layout. Details on 3rd edition are, they're out there, but waiting for confirmation. So anyway, we're just going to play on the destroyed table. If you want to see how it got in this state, just watch the most recent DC miniature game battle report. But today we're doing 350 rep of Bane versus 350 rep of the Brave and the Bold. 2nd edition, while it's still around and on its way out. So this is your Brave and the Bold crew for the day, being led by Arkham Knight Nightwing, and he can be the leader because of the heir to the cowl rule that he has, which means if there's no one called Batman in the crew, he can be the leader. Then we've got Sidekick Batgirl, we have Katana, then we have just Arkham Guard 2, totally remembered, Arkham Guard 2, didn't look away and check his card or anything. And then also Red Hood, who knows why this was destroyed because he was in that battle. And in terms of objectives, they have medical, ammo and Wayne Tech. There's not much to go over for the Bane crew because it is just the Bane Batbox Venom Overdrive or whatever it was called. So Bane, his sniper, his 3 elites at the back there, and then the other one that was new in the box, which is the support one with the grenade launcher. Objectives wise, they have Ace Chemicals, Titan and Osito. Osito was used incorrectly technically depending on where you choose to take his rolls from. Last time this was featured because when Bane holds Osito he's supposed to generate 2 victory points, not 1, and there is rules for him getting stronger and faster if someone on the opposing team picks up Osito instead of him. Where do you find those rules? Not in the rules that come with Venom Overdrive box. It just lists Osito's rolls as if it was a loot, which it's close to a loot, but it's not exact. If you want to get the actual rolls, you have to check the Night Models website. That might not be the case once 3rd edition rolls around, but it's a discrepancy that you could technically say one set is right and one set is wrong. I don't know. Either way, we are running it that he will get angry if anyone picks up Osito, and he will generate 2 victory points if he picks it up. So randomly rolled and got scenario for skirmish today, which is the 8 inches, so it's the biggest deployment zones scenario, so fighting will start quicker. 3 victory bonus points if the boss is KO or casualty at the end, so that's Nightwing or Bane, and then if you take out 50% of the total rep of the 350 rep, 2 victory points at the end. Nothing else. Objectives deploy using their normal rolls. So Roloff decided that Bane's crew was going on this side, so we've got the stealth op down there, we've got the support op with his grenade launcher there, and one of my dog's hairs on it. Up here, precariously on the monorail, we have the 2 guns of Bane's crew, so the sniper op and the elite op. Yeah, that's the one with the machine gun. Bane himself down here, next to the medical for the Brave and the Bold, Tomahawk op, who is the Dreadnought op. Where's the other ones? The ammo is there, and then the Wayne Tech is over there. And then for the Brave and the Bold, Nightwing is starting next to the henchman down there in the corner. They've got 1 Ace Chemical for Bane, there's the other Ace Chemical, Osito, and then the Titan in the corner over there. Batgirl is up there, and then Red Hood and Katana have started down there right up to the line. So we need to check who's raising the plan first. Bane face for Bane, obviously, and then Bat symbol for Brave and the Bold. Going first in Battle Round 1 will be Brave and the Bold. So to get the game started, the first activation was Batgirl from up there. She used her Batclaw, she also just has a Batcape to glide down as long as she has 1 in special, so she did that first. And she's fast, so she made it all the way over here to claim the Wayne Tech. She couldn't activate it, but she is claiming it. And she has stealth, so the guns up here would have to be within 8 to be able to target her because she's out of range of the light that would have lit her up. So over to Bane for his first activation. So 2 quick activations to cover. The Sniper Op activated and just moved up. The Brave and the Bold have a single pass because it's 5 miniatures playing 6, so that was used. So the other gun in Bane's crew activated and has also moved up, so they're both in a prime position to basically have a big threat bubble next turn, which is going to be very dangerous because they can do a lot of damage. I think that's still over 8 inches, so I think Batgirl was safe, but the rest of them not so much. Red Hood activated and dashed forwards into base to base with the Ace Chemicals there and manipulated it. Now because it belongs to Bane and the Brave and the Bold aren't the owner, he can't get any victory points for claiming it by the end of the turn. He can manipulate it though, so his next close combat attack has the poisoned effect. Will that be remembered? no comment. Two more quick activations that were just movement. The support op has just moved into that crater that used to be a building. Oh, it used to be the metro station. And then Katana activated, and she's pretty fast. She has dashed around there with her Soul Taker Katana. Perhaps even being brave enough to grab Osito next turn, who knows. Bane activated next, and he decided to use his cruise once per turn. Sewer Travel went in that one, and has popped up in the back end here now that everybody over here for the Brave and the Bold is activated. He isn't touching the Titan, so he's not claiming it, but he is near it. He's near Osito. You can see what he's doing. He's very, very tough and very, very scary, so we'll see. So now it's over to either Nightwing or Arkham Guard 2 for the Brave and the Bold. Nightwing activated, and he used Inspire to give the Arkham Guard 2 a bonus movement counter. He then moved, didn't use his full movement because he wanted to stay in cover from the two guns, so he's rested on that crater there, which is counting as difficult terrain as well. Kinda near a support op. So now Bane has to choose between Stealth Op and the Dreadnought Op. So despite getting the scenario type where the deployments are as close together as they can be, that was actually a pretty standard turn one with everyone just moving, so we're going to go over the last few activations here because they were just shuffling. The Stealth Op is staying next to the ammo, can't claim it because it's not his, but is contesting it. The Tomahawk Dreadnought Op opted to stay still, presumably because he wants to take the Sewer Grating next turn, and Arkham Guard 2 moved up, keeping under the boxes there so that he has cover in case he gets shot at next turn. So that takes us to recovery and recap for turn 1. So there was no damage to speak of, so there's no recoveries. The only victory points gained in turn 1 was for the Brave and the Bold, Batgirl making it to the Wayne tech for 2. She didn't get any special tech from it though. So we're just straight to seeing who goes first in Battle Round 2. Battle Round 2 is going to get very bloody very quickly. Also, Bane is going to be using a Venom Dose, so he'll have invulnerability and easier to wound, etc. He's a powerhouse, you know how he gets when he's on the drugs. And it's more likely to be Bane going first in Battle Round 2, and that is indeed the case. So to get Battle Round 2 started, Bane has moved from where he was at the Sewer Grating and has picked up his precious Osito, so that'll be off the table in a second because it's on his person. Now, it does mean he can't attack anyone because he has no ranged, but he is very sturdy. I don't think there's any chance of Batgirl and Katana taking him down in the turn, but, well, Red Hood's close by as well, so I don't know. Either way, Bane is very tough, so it would be difficult. He's now going to be generating 2 victory points a turn as long as he's holding on to that adorable teddy bear. Adorable wasn't the first word that came to mind, but had to change it to that. So the first action for the Brave and the Bold was Red Hood, who was down here next to the Ace Chemicals. He did not use his Batclaw in his first turn, he just ran from where he started. So he Batclawed up to here to attack the Sniper Op and managed to do 2 hits through with his dual handguns in melee, which did 2 stun each for 4 stun, and the poison effect was remembered, so he has poison. He only has 5 endurance, so if he fails the endurance roll when he activates, he is just going to fall unconscious because that'll be him down. So, and also they're in base to base to stop him being able to fire the sniper. So they got a little bit too far forwards for that. If he'd used his Batclaw, that wouldn't have been possible. So the ongoing battle up here continued with the Elite Op activating, and I believe you're allowed to shoot through your own miniatures without imparting a ping on the enemy. That's how we've played it. Anyway, I'm fairly sure that's what it said. Yeah, it must be. I'm fairly sure that is the case, so Red Hood wouldn't have had a ping roll. So he shot full rate of fire into Red Hood. Red Hood has a bulletproof vest, so that changes the wound roll of firearms from a 2+ to a 4+. One hit still managed to get through, however, and he had nothing left to do any acrobatic dodges. So he took 3 blood, and he only has 7 endurance, so that is kind of nasty. It's going to be very messy up there. So Nightwing, as you might remember, who was hiding just round the corner there, came round, activated his Batclaw as well, which he didn't use in his first turn, because he can also just run very fast like Red Hood. Came up here to cause some trouble in this mess that's happening up here. So he landed here, he put 2 attacks on the sniper to try and take him out. They both failed to hit. On a 2 and a 1. 1 hit got through on the Elite Op. Yes, Elite Op. So he has taken 2 stun, and that melee up there is going to continue. But he is in base to base, so he'd have to move. So that's reduced his rate of fire to 1 if he chooses to back up and fire next turn. Back over to Bane's crew. Next to activate for Bane was the Support Op, who backed up a little bit, or well, he was moving towards Ace Chemicals presumably, but there was a long debate as to whether or not this would be worth it to punt one of his frag grenades up at Nightwing or Red Hood, knowing that it would also catch 2 of his own team. He opted to do it. The explosion hit, bursts up there, and everybody got hit. It went through on everybody, including the Red Hood with his bulletproof vest. So everybody up there took 1 blood, 1 stun. That does mean that the Sniper Op is now knocked out, and it will give points to the Brave and the Bold, even though it was a Bane operative that knocked him out. I'm not going to tip the model over because it's too fragile up there, but he is knocked out. Everyone else is hurt, and that was fun more than effective, I think. Batgirl activated next, stayed where she was to continue claiming the Wayne tech, but threw batarangs at Bane, who did get hit by 1, it would be for 2 stun, but he has invulnerability 1 from using Venom, so only 1 stun got through to him on his massive, how much HP does he have, is it? He's got, 10. So he's in absolutely no danger yet as we go back over to Bane's crew. 2 quick activations. Stealth Up has moved away from the ammo and moved up there. He didn't have much movement, so he isn't able to clear the distance required, but he's aiming for that Ace Chemicals, presumably. Then Katana activated, and she faced down Bane 4 attacks with her Soul Taker Katana. Her hits went well. He had 3 defense dice. And when it came to wounds, though, she's wounding on 5s. Re-rolling, but still just wounding on 5s, so nothing got through to Bane. So he is unhurt by her, which is unfortunate. So Bane just has Dreadnought Op down there, and then it's Arkham Guard 3 to finish for the Brave and the Bold. So the Dreadnought Op took the sewer grating and has gone all the way over there to potentially claim the Titan next turn. That left Arkham Guard 2, who I called Arkham Guard 3. I caught it when I pressed stop recording. He has moved his full allotment to there. He shot at the support op. Rate of fire 1 because he moved, but it got through for 3 blood. And that takes us to recovering recap for Battle Round 2. At the end of Battle Round 2, Bane and the Red Hood were the only ones to recover any stun damage, so quite a few people still have stun. Obviously the blood damage is staying on. In terms of victory points gained, Bane's crew gained 2 for Bane holding Osito, and the Brave and the Bold got 2 more for Batgirl continuing to hold the Wayne tech. And now, oh, and sorry, 1 for the Sniper Op falling unconscious. He's a henchman, so just 1 point there. He's still on the field, so he's potentially going to give up another point if he gets arrested or murdered. We'll see. Anyway, going first in Battle Round 3 will be the Brave and the Bold. Fearing another frag grenade coming in, the first activation was Arkham Guard 2, who shot into the back of the support op, got through his bulletproof vest for 3 blood, killing him. So that is 2 victory points. Then moved into base to base with the medical as well. That obviously does leave Katana to potentially her fate against Bane. Oh, Bane used another Venom dose. He has 1 left. But that seemed like the most effective thing because Red Hood's close to going down. Also, the poison never mattered on the Sniper Op because he fell unconscious anyway. I guess you could technically say 1 more stun converted to blood if poison procs on a knocked out target, but either way, moving on. Bane activated next and showed why Rebirth Bane is something to be feared. 6 attacks into Katana with the Venom doses, wounding on 2s. Oh, I Will Break You gave him Close Combat Master. I forgot to mention that, I think, when we were going over lists. But if you've ever seen Bane on the table here before, you'll know he always takes Close Combat Master for rerolls to hits. So rerolls to hit, plus 2+ to wound thanks to Venom, equals 10 stun equals Katana knocked out. So that's a free agent knocked out for 3 victory points. He then moved next to Batgirl to contest the Wayne tech, so not claiming that anymore. Also, Bane does not need to pay a counter to move with Osito, just so we're clear as well. And that's on the Night Models website version of Osito's rules. So that's pretty nasty. Definitely caught up victory points wise over to the Brave and the Bold. Nightwing activated and he showed why he is one day going to inherit the cowl because he attacked the Elite Op and managed to do a staggering 7 damage thanks to the crit providing an extra stun. So he is well and truly knocked out, so that's another victory point for a new henchman KO. They're lucky they didn't tumble to their deaths, honestly. So there will be a decision that has to be made though. Do you then abandon them or do you go for coup de grace? Because if you abandon them they could wake up and shoot because they didn't use any of their ammo. Oh sorry, he used 1 set of his ammo. Incidentally, Arkham Guard 2 is now out of ammo as well. So it's over to Bane again now for either Tomahawk Op, who I keep forgetting is called Dreadnought Op, or Stealth Op, and then that's it. 2 quick activations. Stealth Op has moved but still didn't cover enough to get to the Ace Chemicals because he was defending himself, fearing an attack from above I think. Batgirl activated, tried to smack Bane twice, utterly failed, and because he's contesting the Wayne tech, she has fled through this thin alleyway here where Bane can't actually fit. So hopefully that'll save her. So the Dreadnought Op has to go to end Bane's turn and then it's Red Hood for the Brave and the Bold. So perhaps expected to see off the turn Dreadnought Op just claimed the Titan, so it'll be 2 victory points at the end of a turn. And then Red Hood he moved ever so slightly closer to the edge away from the knocked out person next to him in order to shoot his pistols at the Stealth Op. Stealth Op has a bulletproof vest as well, but managed to roll 2 6s on the wound roll, so that is 2 blood and 2 stun to the Stealth Op, leaving him on 1 HP. But he is going to run round the corner there and be out of sight next turn. That was a very bloody turn, it was expected. On to recovery and recap. So at the halfway point for the match, things are as follows. The Sniper Op has woken up. He's obviously still knocked down and not able to do much in his current position, but he is conscious. Nightwing wasn't able to heal the stun on him. Katana was not able to wake up, so she's still unconscious. The Stealth Op did heal one of his stuns, so he's got 2 blood, 1 stun on him now. In terms of victory points gained, Katana going down is 3 victory points for Bane. Isito gives 2, the Titan gives 2. I believe that was everything. For the Brave and the Bold, the Medical gives 3. The henchman was killed for 1, and the new henchman was knocked down for 1. Oh, sorry, the henchman that went down was 2 because he hadn't been knocked down prior, and then Casualty gave 1 more. So they're still ahead as we go into Battle Round 4, but things are a lot more dangerous now because Bane is probably not going to be stopped, so he can pretty much do whatever he wants. And there's still this mess up on the platform too. Oh, it'll be Brave and the Bold going first though again. So to get Battle Round 4 started, Red Hood activated. He attacked 2 or 3 times it was, against the Sniper Op who was knocked down still, so he was hitting on 2s. And he got 1 hit through to re-knock him out, which allowed him to spend 1 special to activate Takedown, which just means he insta-kills him by putting a bullet in his head. So that's an additional 1 victory point for the Sniper being removed from the game. He didn't have many other options given how wounded he is. Bane is out of range for his pistols. He technically could have got through the bulletproof vest on the Stealth Op, but it seemed best just to remove the Sniper because if he actually got a chance to fire, both of them would be in danger. Stealth Op activated and used the chance to run around the corner while Red Hood was distracted, so he's now claiming the ace chemicals and he's out of sight. I think he'd be out of sight even if Red Hood moved to the very tip there. We'd have to measure that if it happened, but for now it's back over to the Brave and the Bold. Batgirl moved from where you last saw her into base to base with the ammo for the Brave and the Bold activation, and then it was just an activate and do nothing for Bane's crew. The Dreadnought Op right at the top there holding the Titan had nothing else to do, so he activated to use up a turn. So now it's either Nightwing or Arkham Guard 3, and then it's just Bane to finish off the turn for his crew. His numbers are starting to deplete. So we're actually already at the end of Battle Round 4 because everyone's just trying to hunker down and gain points now. So we'll start here. Nightwing activated coup de grace the Merc on the floor, only did 4 blood, needed 5 to kill him, so he's still technically got 1 HP left, so he's still alive. Bane just moved into contact with the Wayne Tech. He's now generating 4 victory points because of Osito on him as well, and the Wayne Tech can be controlled by anybody, it's not owner only. I think that covered everything because Batgirl moved next to the armour, so we're straight on to recovery and recap for Battle Round 4. So that was a really high scoring turn for Bane. Bane himself scored 4, 2 for Wayne Tech, 2 for Osito. The Dreadnought Op scored 2 for holding the Titan. The Stealth Op scored 1 for holding the Ace Chemicals. So that's what, 4, 5, 6, 7 victory points there in 1 turn. Brave and the Bold got 3 for the ammo, 3 for the medical for 6, plus he took out a henchman for 7. So it's actually a draw in terms of gains there, but Bane's obviously going to get away with scoring another 4 next turn, and Bane is getting the next 2 activations first for sure. Katana did not wake up, neither did the Elite Op with the machine gun, so he's not a threat either. Might give Red Hood a chance to take him out if nothing else. Nightwing finally shook the stun that was sitting on him, and that was it, I believe. The Stealth Op did not recover his stun. So as I say, it's 2 Bane counters left in this bag, so there's no point deliberating. We know for a fact Bane's crew is going first in Battle Round 5. So to get the penultimate battle round started is a bit of a weird one because most of Bane's crew just wants to basically sit where they are. So Stealth Op activated, and all he did was spend enough to get from one Ace Chemicals to the other just to try and put him further away from Red Hood and Nightwing should they try to take him down. But that's all, that's it. And most of the Brave and the Bold are honestly wanting to kind of stay where they are as well, so I imagine the last 2 turns are going to go real quick. But over to the Brave and the Bold now for their activation. So the first activation for Brave and the Bold was Nightwing using his back claw to get down to where you can see him, heading for a very obvious target over there. And we were looking at this off camera, and the only other thing that matters in terms of an activation isn't just camping objectives for points at the end of a turn, is Red Hood, when he gets to his activation, which is after 1 more Banes, is going to move over and try and kill the Elite Op. Everyone else on Bane's crew is just staying where they are because staying where they are gives them a 1 point advantage over Brave and the Bold, so although that'll be countered if he dies. So we'll be back in a second with basically activations of standing still for everybody except Red Hood, so we'll just see if he can kill him. So perhaps unsurprisingly, Red Hood was able to murderize the knocked out Elite Ops, so that's 1 victory point. And with that, that takes us right into recovery and recap for Battle Round 5 because everybody else is staying put. So as discussed, with everybody staying where they are, it would have given Bane a 1 victory point lead because he's generating 4, 2 from the Titan up the top there, and then 1 for the new Ace Chemical over there, plays 3 for the ammo, 3 for the medical, but Red Hood managed to even it up by taking out a henchman for 1. So that was a draw all round. Katana has not woken up, so she is gone for the rest of the match. The Stealth Op took off the last stun that he was sitting on, so he's now just got 2 blood on his card. And we know for a fact that Bane's getting first activation in the final turn, in which most people will still most likely be staying on their objectives. So we'll see what happens with that. So a quick recap of the only activations that mattered in Battle Round 6. The Stealth Up activated again first for Bane and wanted to get away from Nightwing, who was obviously gunning for him. Even if he didn't kill him, would still contest Ace Chemicals, so he ran to the other one. But then Red Hood activated, he had his back claw off cooldown, used it to get into base to base. He only had 2 attacks and they did not get through, however he's contesting, which denies the Ace Chemical point there. And that does also mean that the points stay exactly the same for both sides, with Bane earning 4, Titan earning 2, ammo and medical, that's 6 each. So with that, we're going into the final conclusion. So that was an interesting one, and it did end up being a pretty high score game. Objectives were played well. This mess that happened up here on this bit of monorail was very silly, but also kind of fun and cinematic, if you can imagine them all just flinging fists up there. It was done for fun more than anything else, so that friendly fire frag grenade was a bit much. Anyway, the points at the end of the game, it was very close in the end, but the Brave and the Bold took it with 31 victory points against 29. But there's no shame in that, that was super close. If Bane had grabbed the seal turn 1, it would have been a draw. If Katana hadn't gone down and stayed down, she could have contested the Titan. I don't think she would have had the strength left in her to take on the Dreadnought Op, but just denying him the Titan for an additional turn would have swung it in the Brave and the Bold's favour even harder, rather. That was a fun one though. Didn't really get to see Nightwing, the Arkham Knight Nightwing shine, which is what I was hoping. I think his rule set and stats are better than the actual Nightwing, personally. I also kind of like his look better. There wasn't really an option to do it because Red Hood was close by and wounded, but just like in the game, he has a big AoE electric storm attack he can do on everybody. It doesn't affect him, but it would affect friendlies nearby, so the situation called for not doing it. And you can use that one in the Teen Titans as well, I suppose, because it's Dick Grayson. Either way, will this be the last 2nd edition game prior to the 3rd edition starter set coming out? Who knows? Might have to play on this table again if the Christmas themed stuff I wanted from China doesn't arrive in time. We'll see. We'll definitely, if 3rd edition doesn't take, we'll stick with 2nd edition, but that remains to be seen, holding back judgment until all the facts are known and the rulebook is in my hands to read, and we just decide what to do with it. By all means, share your feelings if you've been reading the rumours and apparent playtest notes on how 3rd edition works. But that's a story for another day. I hope you enjoyed this battle report, the 2nd edition battle report. Thank you for watching. See you in the future. Ta for now.